I believe the plan has been revealed on how the New Orleans Saints can maximize Tyler Shough and their offense. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at some trends and some things that Kellen Moore has done in the past in order to see how we can move forward in the future with the highest potential and the highest rate of success for the offense in New Orleans. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. If you haven't already, join our family of over 47,000 crazy Saints fans and hit the sub button on the channel. So let's talk about maximizing the quarterback in New Orleans. Tyler Shough, he's going to be the main focus of today's video. I will just make a blanket statement right now. It is very obvious Spencer Rattler still is in the quarterback competition. In fact, I don't think this is a quarterback competition that will be decided or finished in the training camp portion of the summer. I even think this could peel over into the regular season. So just blanket statement. I understand Spencer Rattler's around. This video just isn't talking about him. But you can kind of play Spencer Rattler and plug in him versus Tyler Shough for a lot of this, just for the purpose of the argument. But Tyler Shough, he will be 26 years old in September, a very large talking point around the quarterback. That is a rookie in New Orleans. He does have surprising athleticism for his size, and he does have really nice tools, and he has the tools in order to succeed, but he is very inconsistent whenever he faces pressure. Sometimes he relies too heavily on his arm. He does have a high football IQ, and he can process information quickly. He can make full field reads, and he has a decent amount of experience. However, it's not as much as you would think for a guy who's been in college football as long as he has. And he can extend plays. I want to make something explicitly clear. The athleticism that Tyler Shough has is very underrated, and he's effective on designed rollouts. So with Tyler Shough, I think Kellen Moore can get a little creative in utilizing and scheming up the offense in order to appeal to him. Now, it's important to also address that Tyler Shough will not be a perfect quarterback. He will not be amazing, and I do not have expectations for the Saints and Tyler Shough to have a similar season to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. If anything, you should be hoping for a Bo Nix type year, and it's important to address the facts. You will get rookie moments from Tyler Shough. That will happen. But can Kellen Moore minimize those? Can he eliminate silly mistakes by scheming up plays for Tyler Shough? Can he call an offense that taps into the strengths of the rest of the roster? You're going to have mistakes. You're going to have bad moments. But can you minimize those, and can you make those not hurt as much as they potentially could? Now, Kellen Moore, in my opinion, will attempt to blend all of the offensive experiences he has had, even dating back to being the quarterback of Boise State, where he was one of the most winning quarterbacks in all of college football history. Probably makes some sense to tap into a little bit of that. But also his coaching experience with the Cowboys, the Chargers, and most recently the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to try to blend all of that into what the roster in New Orleans has and appeal to those strengths. So tapping into Alvin Kamara's receiving ability, giving Rashid Shaheed the opportunity to burn you downfield, tapping into the tight end room and trying to utilize that area, scheming up plays for Chris Olave. We're going to have a lot of really good information in this video. I highly encourage you, don't click out yet, because we're going to go into step-by-step, player-by-player, the plan for each weapon. Now, if you want Kellen Moore to have a great first year, just hit the thumbs up icon and like this video. I'm not saying to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, can we see Kellen Moore have a year that we can all say, you know what? I'm happy with it. It was a good first season. Let's keep this thing rocking and rolling. If you want Kellen Moore to have a good season, I want you to hit the thumbs up icon. Let's get some good mojo in his corner. All right, we're going to start this conversation with Alvin Kamara, because a big theme for the New Orleans Saints offense has been building from the inside out. So obviously with the trenches and up the middle and then kind of peeling out to the outside. Alvin Kamara, though, a very obvious crutch for this offense, especially considering the young quarterback with Tyler Shough or Spencer Rattler. And I would be saying this even if Derek Carr was still the starting quarterback. You have to lean on Alvin Kamara as a crutch for this offense. Last year, he set a career high in rushing yards and in receptions and receiving yards per game. So he had 950 yards on the ground, 4.9 receptions per game, and 38.8 receiving yards per game. That is a career high for Alvin Kamara, who's been known to be one of the best dual threat running backs in the National Football League. And fun fact, Kellen Moore just won a Super Bowl, leading the entire league in rushing attempts. So with Alvin Kamara, it's important to lean into the receiving ability that he does have, but while also creating a versatile rushing attack. You don't need to just lean on Alvin Kamara either. You have a lot of talented players in the running back room that you can potentially lean on, such as Kendre Miller or Devin Neal. And specifically, Kendre Miller, he's a player that does have some nice skills. The questions are availability, and if he can stay on the field, I do think he can fit into this scheme very nicely. Whereas Devin Neal, I believe he is a workhorse running back, perfectly suited for this offense. And so for New Orleans, I want to see them lean into this running back room, lean into the rushing attack, because that is where Kellen Moore found so much success. And he saw you don't have to be a pass-happy offense to go and find true success. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. He just did it with them. He won a Super Bowl. So now let's translate some of that over. Let's run the ball a little bit more effectively. Let's build from the inside out, similar to how the Eagles have done it. They have a tremendous offensive line. The Saints have built the offensive line. They're establishing their offensive line. That was apparent by the Kelvin Banks Jr. Draft pick in round 1 with that number 9 overall selection. So the Saints are working to build things from the inside to the outside, and I do believe that's a recipe for success for the black and gold. And why I think that this is important to consider, it's because when Tyler Shough gets pressured, his mechanics start to falter. He starts to lack. He starts to kind of just get all confused and gets very, very choppy, and it doesn't look pretty, and these lead to inaccurate throws. So I think when it comes to the rushing attack, you consider Tyler Shough does get a little bit frantic and a little bit frazzled and a little bit panicked when pressure starts coming to his face. Now, Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, when Taysom Hill is healthy, Devin Neal, those are players, hell, even Cam Akers, these are guys that you can lean on in the rushing attack, because I think if you lean on the rushing attack, this can lead to big opportunities in the passing game. This is very obvious. This is not the only time in the world that this has ever happened. I'm not some genius. I'm not some visionary. It is a fact. If you can establish the run, the passing attack and the offense also can succeed. So with that, establish the run, establish a dominant ground game, utilize Alvin Kamara as a receiving threat as well. But you do all of that in order to set up success in the passing attack. Now, I want to encourage you to subscribe if you agree with this statement. I'm just excited to see a new, fresh, exciting-looking offense in New Orleans. I'm excited that it's going to be modern. I'm excited that it's going to be young. I'm excited that it's going to be fast. I'm excited that it's just going to be different. If you're with me, hit the sub button. And, I mean, this is going to be a fun season. I have a lot of, I'm not going to say high expectations, but I have a lot of high hopes, because I think at the bare minimum, it won't be worse than what we had last year, and hell, even potentially the year before that. I think that we are headed in the right direction, and Kellen Moore is the guy for the job. If you're with me and you are excited and pumped to see a fresh-looking offense in New Orleans, I want you to hit that sub button and join the other 47,000 plus Saints fans who agree with that statement. Rashid Shaheed is a player I want to hone in on before we get to Chris Olave, because Rashid Shaheed, I think his plan and his role should be very, very different than it has been in the past. And why we're kind of going from Kamara to Shaheed to Olave, it's because I think that there's a transition, a natural progression of the rushing attack. Utilize Rashid a little bit in the rushing attack, line him up in the backfield, line him up as a versatile weapon, and then we can talk about the receiving game, because Rashid Shaheed should be more involved as a rusher. He should have a much more unpredictable role, and if he can be in the backfield, his role becomes becomes more unpredictable. The first touch of Rashid Shaheed's career was against the Cincinnati Bengals at the Superdome, and he took it for a 40-plus yard run on a jet sweep. I think that would be a great idea to incorporate back into the playbook. And the Saints, they have limited weapons that are very versatile, especially considering Taysom Hill's injury. Alvin Kamara obviously is still a factor, but you can't solely rely on Alvin Kamara. So I think that's where Rashid Shaheed can really come in and benefit the Saints offense and be a large portion, or take a large portion of snaps off of Alvin Kamara's back. And I think that he should have a variety of jobs this offseason. It should not be limited to just return and receiving abilities. It should be rushing. It should be return man. It should be receiving. It should be lining up in the backfield. It should be used as a decoy. It should be used as everything. If you give Rashid Shaheed more tools and more roles and more responsibilities, not only can he be used as a weapon, he can be used as a decoy as well. I do believe with Rashid Shaheed, he is one of those players that you have to take into consideration when he's on the field as an opposing defensive coordinator. He can beat you downfield. He can beat you across the middle. His speed is absolutely unreal, and the fact that this guy is so dominant with the ball in his hands, he's elusive, he is impossible to tackle, he can be an excellent decoy. Now, with the wide receiver conversation, there's a big caveat here, and that is health. Good health is paramount for success in the wide receiver group in New Orleans. And it's honestly extremely important for the success for the entire offense for the black and gold. If these two guys right here are unhealthy, then this whole operation might just go off the rails. But if they are healthy, I think that the Saints offense quickly goes from a liability to, there's some really intriguing strengths that I can really buy some stock into. I want to ask you a question because we're going to get to Chris Olave next. Who will have more touchdowns? Will it be 12 or will it be 22? Type their jersey number down in the comment section. I want to hear from you, Who Dat Nation. I'm going to go with, it's kind of tough to say Rashid Shaheed because the deep ball might be there, but I'm going to go with Chris Olave. Let's talk about number 12, though, because I think there really could be extra opportunities for him to have a unique usage. And he could be lined up in the slot. There could be extra opportunities for Chris Olave rather than lining up on the outside to line up on the inside of the field at a much, much higher rate this season than he has in the past throughout his NFL career. Kellen Moore, he does utilize a lot of 11 personnel, and he does move his lead wide receiver around a lot. So if you need reference on this, just go back in time to the Philadelphia Eagles last year and just look at Devonte Smith. If you want to see how you should utilize Chris Olave, I'm telling you, just pull up Devonte Smith tape, and that carbon copy paste, command shift, or command C, command V. I want it exactly the same as Devonte Smith in Philadelphia, as Chris Olave in New Orleans. In his career, he has had 2.23 yards per route run and a 27.9 target rate on those routes run. And I think that Chris Olave should definitely get some more work in the slot. And his production over the course of his career has been limited due to injuries, but I am a very strong believer in this player. I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what he's capable of doing. And I think that Chris Olave really is a talented football player, and I think that he can be a dominant wide receiver. Now, I talked about Devonte Smith. It's important to consider that Devonte Smith is not the wide receiver one in New Orleans or in Philadelphia. That's A.J. Brown. Chris Olave is viewed as the wide receiver one. So maybe for Kellen Moore, this is we need that big-bodied A.J. Brown type presence. Maybe it's Bub Means. Maybe it's somebody else in the future. Who knows? But Devonte Smith is a great option to look at in how you should utilize Chris Olave. He played a career high of 47.5% of snaps in the slot. And he had rates of 10.6% snaps in the slot, 21.5% and 24.3% to open his career. Last season, he had a career high in touchdowns, not as much in the yards department. He had over 1,000 yards in 2 separate seasons. But I do think when you look at the size profiles of Devonte Smith, similar to Chris Olave, that's just where you should be, using the bread and butter. That's where you should be utilizing a lot of football and getting a lot of inspiration. The wide receiver group in New Orleans has a lot of speed, not a lot of size. So I don't think that that is a big issue, but I will say I think for New Orleans, they need to scheme plays to get these guys open. You can allow these players to just burn the opposing defense and just create space because they're just simply faster or better route runners than the opposing DBs are defenders. But I really, really do think that you need to give Chris Olave opportunities to thrive in the slot, line him up, and give him chances, because that has been a massive, massive downfall of Chris Olave, and the Saints have been doing a big disservice to him by not giving him chances in the first 3 seasons when he has been healthy. It feels like we've been begging the quarterbacks to just throw the ball and the offensive coordinator to scheme plays up for him. Kellen Moore, can you please answer the call finally? And here's the last chance to get this shirt on sale. It was $60. It's now $24. Chatsports.com/Saints sale. Linked in the comments and description of this video. Once they're gone, they're gone. Don't say I didn't try to help you out. $60, now $25. Go get yours. Click the link in the comments or description of this video. Now, it's not all down, or it doesn't all come down to Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed / maybe Bub Means, and then Alvin Kamara, Devin Neal, Kendre Miller, Cam Akers. Like, it comes down to a lot more than that. It's also the offensive line, but also the tight ends. Like, every part of the offense needs to have a better role and needs to have better production week in and week out. And when Kellen Moore designs his offenses, it's designed that any single player can make a play. Anybody on the field can be a part of the play. So the tight end room is just as important to this conversation as any other position. Juwan Johnson, I think, will be heavily utilized in this offense. I think Kellen Moore has big plans for Juwan Johnson. Foster Moreau, whenever he's fully healthy, I think he's going to be a really, really good player. I think he's in for a big season. Taysom Hill, I want to see him get back. I want to see him be healthy. Don't rush him back. But Dallin Holker, Jack Stoll, Trayton Welch, Seth Green, Maliki Mataval, Michael Jacobson. There's a lot of options here in New Orleans in the tight end room. And I will tell you, you should expect a lot of 2 tight end sets. I know that we talked about Kellen Moore running a lot of 11 personnel, but you should expect a lot of 2 tight end sets. He ran 2 tight end sets at a career high last season in Philadelphia. Kellen Moore calling a lot of plays where you had multiple tight ends, whether it was Dallas Goedert and Jack Stoll or whoever it was. There was a lot of plays where 2 tight ends were on the field. And so in order to sum things up, I'm just going to kind of put a spark notes for you right here. Kellen Moore needs to get creative and keep things fresh offensively if he wants to maximize Tyler Shough and get the most out of this offense in year 1. It's not going to be pretty, but there is talented players along the entire offense, including Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau. You have talented athletes and you have good football players. You just need to set them up to succeed. You got to get creative with their usage and give them roles that they haven't necessarily utilized a ton in the past. I think that this could be a really special season for Saints football, but it's important to get the most out of Tyler Shough by doing those few things. So let's recap it here. The leaked plan for the 2025 New Orleans Saints offense, you got to minimize the rookie moments for Tyler Shough. Give him the opportunity to succeed, maximize his potential, maximize his skill set, and try to put him under the least amount of pressure possible. Lean on Alvin Kamara. Let him be a rushing threat. Let him be a receiving threat. Give him opportunities to make plays before contact, and this guy is one of the best in the league to do it. Rashid Shaheed, let's give him rushing opportunities. Line him up in the backfield. Send him on routes from the backfield. Give him a variety of roles and a variety of responsibilities. Let's put Chris Olave into the slot a little bit more often. Let's give him chances to make plays. Let's scheme routes and scheme up plays specifically for number 12 to go and feast. And lastly, I want to utilize the tight ends. I want to see 2 tight end sets. I want to see Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau be heavily targeted, especially in the red zone, considering the lack of size in the receiving department in New Orleans. Now, what are your expectations for Tyler Shough this season? I want to hear from you, Who Dat Nation. Mine are, I expect Spencer Rattler actually to be the starter over the first few weeks of the season, and then Tyler Shough comes in, and I think that he will have kind of an up and down, left, right, a little bit all over the place season. I'm not really expecting a ton. I just want to see something that I can buy a little bit of stock into and a reason for me to tune in every single Sunday. It's not going to be pretty, but just give me something to root for. Who Dat Nation, 20-minute video. We haven't been doing a lot of those recently. We've been trying to get you guys just more content, but I wanted to give you guys some in-depth, highly informative, highly entertaining analysis. A lot of information coming from guys like Ross Jackson, the Warren Sharp Football Handbook, a lot of great information in this video. So I hope you guys found it useful, and I hope you feel a little bit smarter after today's show. Y'all stay golden. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.